In just 90 days, you have the power to transform yourself into someone unrecognizable, not just in appearance, but in the very essence of how you move, speak, and handle pressure. This transformation isn't a vague promise or a fleeting motivational spark. It's a tangible, achievable reality grounded in discipline, intention, and relentless consistency. The concept of a 90-day transformation, as inspired by Napoleon Hill's Principles of Personal Development, is rooted in the idea that a focused, deliberate period of effort can fundamentally reshape your identity, turning you into a sharper, stronger, and more focused version of yourself. The journey begins with a single decision: to commit fully to the process, to leave behind hesitation, procrastination, and self-doubt, and to embrace a mindset that prioritizes action over excuses. This is not about superficial change or a temporary burst of effort. It's about forging a new you, someone who operates with clarity, purpose, and unyielding resolve. The 90-day time frame is significant because it aligns with the psychological and neurological processes that govern habit formation. Research suggests that it takes approximately 66 to 90 days to solidify new habits, depending on their complexity and the individual's commitment. By dedicating yourself to a structured, intentional plan over this period, you can rewire your brain's neural pathways, turning disciplined actions into automatic behaviors that define who you are. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of purpose, moving through your day with confidence, speaking with conviction, and handling challenges with a calm, focused mind. This is a version of you that emerges when you commit to 90 days of radical consistency, where every action you take reinforces a new identity, one that doesn't flinch in the face of adversity or crumble under pressure. The transformation begins with how you move. Movement isn't just physical. It's a metaphor for progress, for taking steps forward even when the path is uncertain. In the context of this 90-day journey, movement means showing up every day, whether for a workout, a work session, or a moment of reflection, and doing so with intention. It's about replacing sluggish, aimless routines with purposeful action. For example, committing to daily physical exercise, even if it's just 30 minutes of intense movement, not only strengthens your body, but also trains your mind to prioritize discipline over comfort. Over time, this consistent effort reshapes how you carry yourself. Your posture becomes more confident, your energy more vibrant, and your presence more commanding. You begin to move through the world differently, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your body and mind have internalized the habits of someone who takes action without hesitation. Similarly, the way you speak undergoes a profound shift. Speech is a reflection of your inner state. When you're uncertain or unfocused, your words often lack clarity or conviction. But as you immerse yourself in this 90-day process, feeding your mind with high-quality input like books, reflective writing, and purposeful conversations, your speech begins to mirror your newfound clarity. You start to articulate your thoughts with precision, choosing words that carry weight and meaning. This isn't about becoming a polished orator overnight. It's about aligning your communication with your evolving identity. You speak less impulsively, with more intention, and others begin to notice the difference. They sense the confidence in your tone, the certainty in your ideas, and the authenticity in your words. This shift in how you speak isn't just cosmetic. It's a byproduct of the internal work you're doing to sharpen your mind and align your actions with your goals. Handling pressure is another area where this transformation manifests dramatically. Life is inherently unpredictable, and pressure, whether from work, relationships, or personal challenges, is inevitable. The old version of you might have reacted to pressure with anxiety, indecision, or avoidance, but the 90-day journey equips you to face it head-on. By practicing daily disciplines like deep work, physical training, and moments of stillness, you build resilience that allows you to remain calm and focused under stress. You learn to see pressure not as a threat, but as an opportunity to demonstrate your growth. For instance, when faced with a tight deadline or a difficult conversation, the new you doesn't panic or procrastinate. Instead, you approach the situation with a clear mind, breaking it down into manageable steps and tackling it with confidence. This ability to handle pressure comes from a mental and emotional strength you cultivate over the 90 days, as each small win compounds into a deep well of self-assurance. The process of becoming unrecognizable in 90 days is not about chasing external validation or quick fixes. It's about internal transformation, rewriting the story of who you are. Napoleon Hill's teachings emphasize the power of definiteness of purpose, a concept that underpins this entire journey. You must decide with absolute clarity what you want to achieve and who you want to become, then align every action, thought, and habit toward that vision. This decision isn't a casual one. It's a burning commitment that eliminates escape routes and forces you to confront your old self, the habits that once held you back, scrolling mindlessly, second-guessing decisions, or succumbing to distractions. Begin to fall away as you replace them with intentional actions. For example, dedicating an hour each day to feeding your mind with purposeful content, such as reading books on personal growth or writing down your goals, rewires your thinking patterns. You stop consuming junk information and start seeking out ideas that challenge and elevate you. This shift in mental input changes how you perceive yourself and your potential, setting the stage for profound growth. The physical aspect of this transformation is equally critical. Your body is a foundation of your energy and focus, and neglecting it undermines your ability to sustain the mental and emotional demands of change. By committing to daily movement, whether it's running, lifting weights, or practicing yoga, you build not just physical strength, but also mental fortitude. Each drop of sweat is a declaration of your commitment to yourself, a reminder that you're willing to endure discomfort for the sake of growth. Over 90 days, this consistent physical effort transforms your body into a vessel of power, capable of carrying the weight of your ambitions. You stand taller, move with purpose, and exude a quiet confidence that others can't help but notice. But the transformation goes beyond the physical and mental. It's about becoming a force, someone who doesn't just react to life, but shapes it. This is where the concept of mission comes into play. During these 90 days, you dedicate time each day to working on your dream, whether it's building a business, mastering a skill, or pursuing a creative endeavor. This focused effort, often referred to as deep work, is where you lay the bricks of your future success. By giving your mission 90 minutes of uninterrupted attention daily, you create a compound effect that separates you from those who dabble or procrastinate. Even if you're not yet clear on your ultimate purpose, the act of showing up and working towards something meaningful builds clarity over time. The key is to start, to move forward even in uncertainty, and to trust that the process will reveal the path. Another critical component of this 90-day journey is stillness, the practice of disconnecting from the noise of the world to reconnect with yourself. In a culture addicted to constant stimulation, carving out 10 to 20 minutes each day for silence, meditation, or reflection is revolutionary. This practice allows you to defragment your mind, process your emotions, and align your actions with your deeper purpose. Stillness isn't passive. It's a powerful tool for cultivating clarity and focus. By training yourself to sit with your thoughts without distraction, you develop the ability to act with intention rather than react impulsively. This clarity becomes your superpower, enabling you to make decisions that align with your long-term vision rather than short-term impulses. The beauty of this 90-day transformation is that it's not about perfection, but about progress. You don't need to be flawless every day. You just need to be consistent. When resistance arises, and it will, in the form of boredom, doubt, or discomfort, you lean into it. Resistance is not the enemy. It's a signal that you're evolving. Each time you push through a moment of wanting to quit, you strengthen your resolve, an inch closer to the version of you that's capable of extraordinary things. By day 90, the cumulative effect of these daily disciplines, mind, body, mission, and stillness, creates a version of you that's not just different but undeniable. You move with purpose, speak with clarity, and handle pressure with grace, not because you're trying to prove something to others, but because it's who you become. This transformation is a result of a deliberate, disciplined process, one that requires you to show up every day, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. And in doing so, you unlock a version of yourself that's sharper, stronger, and ready to take on the world. The decision to change in the context of a 90-day transformation is not a fleeting moment of inspiration or a casual resolution made in the heat of enthusiasm. It is a profound, deliberate declaration of war against the old version of yourself, a version tethered to outdated habits, self-sabotaging excuses, and the seductive pull of mediocrity. This commitment, inspired by the principles of Napoleon Hill, is the cornerstone of the transformative journey, demanding not just intent, but an unyielding resolve to eliminate all escape routes and burn the bridges that lead back to comfort. It's about choosing to confront the parts of yourself that have kept you stuck, those ingrained patterns of procrastination, hesitation, and self-doubt that have silently dictated your life's trajectory. This decision is not a passive wish or a vague hope for a better future. It is an active, conscious choice to redefine who you are by aligning every action, thought, and moment with the vision of the person you aspire to become. To make this decision is to step into a battlefield where the enemy is not external circumstances, but the internal forces of complacency and fear that have held you back. It's a war against the habits that make you hit the snooze button, scroll mindlessly through social media, or rationalize inaction with excuses disguised as logic. These habits are not merely inconveniences. They are chains that anchor you to a life of unfulfilled potential. By declaring war on them, you are rejecting the status quo and refusing to settle for average. This is not about chasing a temporary high or a motivational boost that fades when the initial excitement wears off. Instead, it's about making a definitive choice to go all in, to commit to a 90-day sprint where every day is a step toward dismantling the old you and constructing a new identity forged in discipline and purpose. The power of this decision lies in its finality. There is no backup plan, no safety net, no room for negotiation. You are not flirting with change. You are marrying it, vow to uphold your commitment regardless of how you feel or what obstacles arise. This mindset shift is critical because it rewires how you approach challenges. Instead of seeing difficulties as reasons to pause or retreat, you view them as tests of your resolve, opportunities to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. Napoleon Hill's philosophy of definiteness of purpose underscores this process, emphasizing that true transformation begins with a clear, unwavering decision to pursue a specific outcome. In this case, that outcome is not just a better version of yourself, but a fundamentally different one, a person who moves with intention, speaks with conviction, and faces pressure with unshakable calm. The decision to change is what separates those who dream from those who do, those who wish from those who achieve. It's a commitment to stop negotiating with weakness, to stop allowing excuses to masquerade as valid reasons for inaction. For example, consider the habit of procrastination, a common enemy in this war. Every time you delay a task, whether it's skipping a workout or putting off a critical work session, you reinforce a narrative that your goals are optional, that your word to yourself can be broken. Over time, this erodes your self-respect and confidence, creating a cycle of stagnation. But when you make the decision to change, you draw a line in the sand. No more excuses, no more delays. You act even when you don't feel ready, even when the task feels daunting, because you've decided that your future self is worth the discomfort of the present moment. This choice is not about perfection, but about persistence. It's about showing up every day, even when motivation is nowhere to be found, and doing the work because it's non-negotiable. The psychological impact of this decision is profound. By committing to 90 days of relentless action, you begin to rewire your brain's neural pathways, a process rooted in the science of habit formation. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you carve a deeper groove in your mind, making it easier to repeat that choice in the future. Over the course of 90 days, these repeated actions compound, transforming isolated decisions into a new identity. You stop trying to be disciplined and start being disciplined. You stop hoping to be consistent and become someone for whom consistency is second nature. This shift is not hypothetical, it's measurable. Studies in behavioral psychology suggest that consistent repetition of behavior over 66 to 90 days can solidify it as a habit, embedding it into your subconscious so that it no longer requires conscious effort. This is why the decision to change is so powerful. It's not just a moment of resolve, but the catalyst for a chain reaction that reshapes your entire being. The war against the old you is not fought with grand gestures or dramatic proclamations, but with small, deliberate actions repeated daily. It's in the choice to wake up early instead of sleeping in, to read a book instead of scrolling through your phone, to push through a workout even when you're tired. Each of these choices is a battle won, a step toward dismantling the habits that have kept you stuck. Excuses, in particular, are a formidable opponent in this war. They often appear as rational thoughts. I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I've done enough for now. But they are traps that undermine your progress. The decision to change means recognizing these excuses for what they are, lies that your old self tells to maintain control. By refusing to entertain them, you weaken their hold over you, replacing them with a new narrative. I do what I say I will, no matter what. This internal contract is sacred, a promise you make to yourself that you will not break, regardless of circumstances. Mediocrity, too, is a subtle but pervasive enemy. It's a temptation to settle for good enough, to coast through life without pushing your limits. The decision to change is a rejection of this mindset, a refusal to let your potential remain dormant. It's about recognizing that average is a choice, just as excellence is, and choosing to align yourself with the latter. This choice requires courage because it means stepping into discomfort, embracing the pain of growth, and letting go of the familiar safety of your current self. It's not easy to walk away from the comfort of mediocrity, but it's necessary if you want to become someone extraordinary. The decision to change also involves a shift in how you view failure. In the past, setbacks might have derailed you, reinforcing the belief that you're not capable of achieving your goals. But with this new commitment, failure becomes feedback, a signal that you're pushing your boundaries and evolving. Each time you stumble, whether it's missing a workout or succumbing to a distraction, you don't see it as a reason to quit, but as an opportunity to recommit. You analyze what went wrong, adjust your approach, and keep moving forward. This resilience is what makes the 90-day journey transformative. It's not about avoiding mistakes, but about refusing to let them define you. The environment you create during these 90 days is also critical to the success of this decision. Distractions, whether in the form of mindless entertainment, toxic relationships, or cluttered spaces, are the allies of your old self, pulling you back into familiar patterns. By making the decision to change, you commit to clearing your environment of these influences. This might mean deleting social media apps, setting boundaries with people who drain your energy, or organizing your workspace to support focus and productivity. Your environment becomes a reflection of your commitment, a sacred space where transformation can take root. Ultimately, the decision to change is about taking ownership of your life. It's about recognizing that no one else is coming to save you, that your potential is in your hands, and that the only thing standing between you and the person you want to become is your willingness to act. This decision is not a one-time event, but a daily recommitment, a choice you make every morning to live as the person you're becoming, not the person you were. By the end of the 90 days, this relentless dedication to change will have reshaped you into someone who doesn't just dream of a better life, but lives it. You'll move with purpose, speak with authority, and face challenges with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've earned your transformation through discipline, sacrifice, and an unwavering commitment to your purpose. This is the power of deciding to change. It's not just a step toward a new you. It's a spark that ignites a revolution within. The importance of a 90-day period in the context of personal transformation is not merely a motivational concept, but a scientifically grounded window of opportunity that allows you to build new habits, create unstoppable momentum, and fundamentally reshape your identity, setting you apart from the vast majority who remain tethered to unfulfilled potential. This 90-day time frame, inspired by Napoleon Hill's teachings on achieving success through focused effort, is significant because it aligns with the psychological and neurological processes that govern habit formation, providing enough time to rewire your brain and turn deliberate actions into automatic behaviors that define who you are. Unlike vague resolutions or fleeting bursts of enthusiasm, a 90-day commitment is a calculated sprint, a period long enough to produce meaningful change, but short enough to maintain intense focus and urgency. It's a window where radical consistency can compound small, intentional actions into transformative results, enabling you to rise above the 99% of people who drift through life, clinging to the illusion that someday will bring their dreams to fruition. These individuals, often sleepwalking through their routines, convince themselves that half-hearted efforts or sporadic motivation will eventually lead to success. But the truth is that without a structured, disciplined approach, their goals remain distant fantasies. In contrast, a 90-day journey is about locking in, eliminating distractions, and treating every day as a critical step toward becoming someone extraordinary. The science behind this time frame is compelling. Research in behavioral psychology, such as studies by Filippo Lally and others, suggests that it takes an average of 66 to 90 days to form a new habit, depending on its complexity and the individual's commitment. During this period, repeated actions create neural pathways in the brain, strengthening with each repetition until behavior becomes second nature. This is why 90 days matters. It's not just about trying something new, but about becoming someone new. By consistently choosing discipline over comfort, you carve grooves in your mind that make it easier to act in alignment with your goals, even when motivation fades. For example, committing to a daily practice like waking up at 5 a.m. might feel grueling at first, but after 90 days of relentless repetition, it becomes as natural as breathing. This process transforms not just your habits, but your entire identity, shifting you from someone who struggles to follow through to someone who lives with purpose and conviction. The power of this 90-day window lies in its ability to harness the compound effect, where small, consistent actions build upon each other to create exponential results. Consider the analogy of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, but as it gathers more snow with each turn, it grows larger and gains unstoppable momentum. Similarly, every disciplined choice you make, whether it's an hour of focused work, a 30-minute workout, or 10 minutes of stillness, adds to your momentum, creating a force that propels you forward. By day 30, you might not see dramatic changes, but beneath the surface, your brain is rewiring, your confidence is building, and your habits are solidifying. By day 60, these efforts start to feel less like a struggle and more like a rhythm. And by day 90, you've created a new baseline for how you operate. This momentum is what separates you from the masses who never gain traction because they keep resetting their progress with inconsistency. They might start strong for a few days, then skip a workout or procrastinate on a task, forcing them to start over and chase the spark of motivation again. In contrast, a 90-day commitment ensures you don't just start, you finish, building a foundation that makes future growth easier and more sustainable. The 90-day period is also a crucible for overcoming the inertia of mediocrity that keeps most people stuck. Society often normalizes coasting through life, settling for routines that are comfortable but unfulfilling. People convince themselves that someday they'll take action, when they have more time, more money, or more energy. But someday is a myth, a trap that keeps potential locked away. The 90-day framework shatters this illusion by giving you a finite, actionable timeline to prove to yourself that change is possible now. It's not about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about creating them through daily discipline. For instance, dedicating 90 minutes each day to your mission, whether it's writing a book, building a business, or learning a new skill, amounts to over 100 hours of focused effort by the end of the period. This is equivalent of a part-time job devoted to your growth, a commitment that most people never make in a year, let alone 3 months. This concentrated effort creates a clear distinction between you and those who dabble, ensuring you rise above the 99% who remain caught in cycles of distraction and procrastination. Another critical aspect of the 90-day window is its ability to foster a shift in identity, which is the true goal of transformation. Habits are not just actions. They are reflections of who you believe yourself to be. If you see yourself as someone who is inconsistent or unreliable, your actions will align with that belief, perpetuating a cycle of failure. But by committing to 90 days of disciplined action, you begin to see yourself differently. Each time you follow through, whether it's resisting the urge to scroll social media or pushing through a tough workout, you reinforce a new narrative. I am someone who shows up. This identity shift is what makes the 90-day period so powerful. It's not about checking boxes or achieving a single goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who consistently takes action, regardless of circumstances. By the end of the 90 days, you don't just have new habits. You have a new sense of self, one that is grounded in discipline, resilience, and purpose. The 90-day framework also demands that you eliminate distractions, a non-negotiable requirement for success. Distractions are the silent killers of progress, pulling you away from your goals with the allure of instant gratification. Whether it's mindless scrolling, unnecessary conversations, or the temptation to multitask, these distractions fracture your focus and dilute your energy. The 90-day journey requires you to create a sacred container for your transformation, a space where nothing leaks in or out. This might mean muting notifications, clearing your workspace, or setting boundaries with people who don't support your goals. By removing these obstacles, you create an environment that supports your commitment, making it easier to stay consistent. This focus is what allows you to channel your energy into actions that matter, ensuring that every day moves you closer to your vision. The urgency of a 90-day timeline also serves as a psychological motivator, pushing you to treat each day as critical. Unlike a year-long plan, which can feel vague and distant, 90 days is immediate enough to keep you accountable, but long enough to produce real results. It's a sprint, not a marathon, requiring you to go all in without the luxury of procrastination. This sense of urgency forces you to prioritize, to cut out what doesn't serve your mission, and to focus on what does. For example, if you commit to reading a book for an hour each day, you're not just consuming information. You're training your mind to seek out knowledge over entertainment. If you dedicate 90 minutes to your craft, you're not just working, you're building mastery. These daily commitments, repeated over 90 days, create a ripple effect that transforms not just your habits, but your entire life. By the end of this period, you're not just different. You're undeniable, a person who has proven through action that they are capable of extraordinary things. The 90-day window is your chance to break free from the patterns that have held you back and step into a version of yourself that is sharper, stronger, and more aligned with your potential. It's a call to reject complacency of someday and embrace the power of now, knowing that every disciplined choice you make is a brick in the foundation of your new identity. This is how you rise above the 99%. Not through luck or talent, but through the relentless, intentional effort of 90 days that redefine who you are and what you're capable of achieving. The science behind a 90-day transformation, as inspired by Napoleon Hill's principles of personal development, lies in the remarkable ability of consistent, intentional action to rewire your brain's neural pathways, turning deliberate behaviors into automatic habits that redefine your identity and set the foundation for lasting change. This process is not a motivational platitude, but a well-documented phenomenon rooted in behavioral psychology and neuroscience, which demonstrates that habits are formed through repetition, creating grooves in the brain that make certain actions easier over time. The 90-day time frame is particularly significant because it aligns with research, such as studies by Filippo Lally and others, which suggests that it takes an average of 66 to 90 days to solidify a new habit, depending on its complexity and the individual's commitment. During this period, every choice you make, whether it's waking up early, dedicating time to deep work, or resisting distractions, carves a deeper neural pathway, reinforcing behavior until it becomes a natural part of who you are. This is not about temporary effort or fleeting bursts of motivation. It's about leveraging the brain plasticity to transform isolated actions into a new identity, one that doesn't just try to be disciplined, but embodies discipline as a core trait. The concept of neural rewiring is central to understanding why 90 days is such a powerful window for change. Your brain operates through patterns, forming connections between neurons each time you perform an action. When you make a choice once, it's insignificant, a single spark that fades quickly. Do it twice, and the brain begins to take notice, forming a faint pathway. But when you repeat that choice every day for 90 days, without deviation or apology, that pathway becomes a well-worn groove, a neural superhighway that makes a behavior automatic. For example, if you commit to 30 minutes of daily exercise, the first few days might feel like a struggle, requiring conscious effort to overcome inertia. But by day 30, the act of lacing up your shoes and moving your body starts to feel less like a decision and more like a reflex. By day 90, it's no longer something you do. It's who you are. This is the essence of habit formation. Repetition forges identity, and identity drives behavior. The 90-day period is long enough to embed these changes deeply, ensuring that they don't just stick, but become an integral part of your self-concept. This process is what allows you to shift from someone who struggles with consistency to someone who lives it effortlessly. The beauty of this science lies in its universality. Anyone can harness it, regardless of their starting point. You don't need extraordinary talent or resources. You need commitment and repetition. Every time you choose to act in alignment with your goals, Whether it's spending an hour reading a high-quality book, dedicating 90 minutes to your craft, or sitting in 10 minutes of stillness, you're sending a signal to your brain that this is who you are now. This is why the 90-day framework is so effective. It's not about achieving a single outcome, but about becoming someone new. Consider the example of waking up early. If you decide to rise at 5 a.m. every day, the first week might be a battle against your old self, who craves the comfort of the snooze button. But each morning you get up, you strengthen the neural pathway associated with that behavior. Your brain begins to associate the sound of the alarm with action, not resistance. Over time, the effort required diminishes, and by the end of 90 days, waking up early isn't something you force yourself to do. It's simply what you do. This transformation extends beyond individual habits to your entire identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles to get out of bed and start seeing yourself as someone who starts the day with purpose. This shift in self-perception is what makes the 90-day journey so powerful. It's not just about what you do, but about who you become. The science of habit formation also highlights the importance of consistency over intensity. It's not about making heroic efforts on a single day, but about showing up every day, even when the actions feel small or mundane. Small, consistent actions compound over time, creating a ripple effect that leads to profound change. For instance, dedicating just 10 minutes a day to meditation might seem insignificant, but over 90 days, that's 900 minutes, 15 hours, of training your mind to be present and focused. This practice doesn't just improve your ability to meditate, it enhances your overall clarity, emotional resilience, and decision-making capacity. Similarly, spending 90 minutes daily on your mission, whether it's writing, coding, or building a business, amounts to over 100 hours of focused effort by the end of the 90 days. This is enough time to develop significant skills, produce tangible results, and build confidence in your abilities. The compound effect of these small actions is what separates those who transform from those who merely try. Another critical aspect of the science behind 90 days is the role of discomfort in driving growth. When you push yourself to adopt new habits, you inevitably encounter resistance, whether it's the mental fatigue of focusing deeply, the physical strain of exercise, or the emotional challenge of sitting in stillness. This discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a signal that you're evolving. Neurologically, it's the brain's way of adapting to new patterns, stretching beyond its comfort zone to form new connections. When you feel the urge to skip a workout or scroll through your phone instead of working, that's your old self resisting the formation of new neural pathways. By pushing through this resistance, you strengthen the new pathways and weaken the old ones, gradually making the desired behavior easier. This is why the 90-day period is so effective. It's long enough to push past the initial discomfort and reach a point where the new habits feel natural. The psychological concept of self-efficacy also plays a crucial role in this process. Self-efficacy, as defined by psychologist Albert Bandura, is your belief in your ability to succeed in specific situations. Each time you follow through on a commitment, whether completing a workout, sticking to your work block, or resisting a distraction, you build evidence that you're capable of achieving your goals. This evidence strengthens your self-efficacy, making you more likely to take on challenges with confidence. Over 90 days, these small wins accumulate, creating a feedback loop where success breeds more success. You begin to trust yourself, not just in one area, but across all aspects of your life. This trust is what allows you to move from trying to being, from someone who hopes to be disciplined to someone who is disciplined. The 90-day time frame also leverages the power of momentum, a force that transforms effort into flow. In the early days, every action feels like pushing a heavy boulder uphill. But as you persist, the boulder begins to roll on its own, gaining speed with each repetition. This momentum is what makes the second half of the 90 days so different from the first. By day 60, the habits you've been building start to feel less like a struggle and more like a rhythm. You no longer need to convince yourself to act. The actions themselves pull you forward. This is a point where discipline becomes automatic, where the neural pathways you've been carving are strong enough to guide your behavior without conscious effort. The science of momentum is why consistency is non-negotiable. Every time you skip a day or make an excuse, you disrupt the momentum and force yourself to start over. But when you stay locked in for 90 days, you cross a threshold where the habits become self-sustaining, and the person you become no longer needs to negotiate with doubt or temptation. Ultimately, the science behind a 90-day transformation is about more than just forming habits. It's about forging a new identity. Your identity is the sum of your beliefs about yourself, shaped by the actions you take daily. When you commit to 90 days of disciplined, intentional effort, you're not just changing what you do, you're changing who you are. You become someone who wakes up early, who prioritizes their mission, who chooses focus over distraction. This new identity is your greatest asset, a foundation that supports every future goal you set. By the end of the 90 days, you're not just a person with better habits. You're a person with a new sense of purpose, confidence, and capability. This transformation is grounded in the science of repetition, momentum, and self-efficacy, but its impact is deeply personal. It's the moment you realize you become someone who doesn't just dream of success, but lives it one disciplined day at a time. Discipline is a cornerstone of a 90-day transformation, serving as the unwavering force that drives lasting change, far surpassing the fleeting allure of motivation, which is unreliable and prone to fading when faced with life's inevitable challenges. Unlike motivation, which ebbs and flows with emotions, energy levels, or external circumstances, discipline is a steadfast commitment to action, regardless of how you feel, what obstacles arise, or whether conditions are ideal. In the context of Napoleon Hill's principles of personal development, discipline is the truth that powers a journey to becoming a sharper, stronger, and more focused version of yourself, enabling you to push through difficulty, pain, and boredom to achieve automatic, effortless behavior that defines your new identity. This 90-day framework is not about chasing temporary highs or waiting for the perfect moment to act. It's about building a life where discipline becomes your default state, transforming effort into flow and turning fleeting intentions into unshakable habits. The essence of discipline lies in its ability to override the whims of mood, making it the ultimate tool for achieving consistency in a world that constantly tempts you to falter. Motivation is a liar. It promises action but often abandons you when fatigue, doubt, or boredom sets in. It's the spark that gets you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going day after day through the mundane and the difficult. For example, consider the act of committing to a daily workout. On day 1, you might feel energized, driven by the excitement of a new goal. But by day 7, when the initial enthusiasm has waned and your body feels sore, motivation alone won't get you out of bed. Discipline, however, doesn't care if you're tired, if it's raining, or if your friends are urging you to skip the gym for a night out. Discipline demands that you lace up your shoes and move, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided it's non-negotiable. This relentless commitment to action is what separates those who transform from those who merely dream, and it's what makes the 90-day period so powerful. By showing up every day, regardless of circumstances, you build a foundation of reliability that reshapes how you see yourself and how you operate in the world. The science behind discipline's effectiveness is rooted in the brain's ability to adapt through repetition, a process known as neuroplasticity. Each time you choose to act despite resistance, you strengthen neural pathways associated with that behavior, making it easier to repeat in the future. Over the course of 90 days, these repeated actions compound, turning conscious effort into automatic behavior. For instance, if you dedicate 90 minutes daily to deep work on your mission, whether it's writing, coding, or building a business, the first few weeks might require significant willpower to stay focused. But as you persist, the act of sitting down to work becomes less of a struggle and more of a reflex. By day 90, you don't need to psych yourself up or rely on motivation. You simply do the work because it's who you are. This is the power of discipline. It doesn't just help you achieve goals. It rewires your identity so that disciplined action becomes your natural state. This transformation is critical because it frees you from the cycle of starting and stopping that plagues most people. Without discipline, you're at the mercy of your emotions, constantly resetting your progress when life gets hard or when the initial excitement fades. Discipline, on the other hand, is the anchor that keeps you steady, ensuring that you move forward even when the path feels steep or uninspiring. The 90-day framework leverages this principle by creating a finite, focused period where discipline is non-negotiable. Every day, You're faced with opportunities to choose discipline over comfort, whether it's waking up early, resisting the urge to scroll through social media, or sticking to your meditation practice. Each choice is a small victory, a brick in the foundation of your new self. Over time, these victories accumulate, creating a sense of momentum that makes discipline easier to sustain. This momentum is what transforms effort into flow, where the work no longer feels like a battle, but a natural extension of your identity. You stop fighting yourself to act and start moving with purpose, driven by the internal certainty that you are someone who follows through. One of the greatest challenges in cultivating discipline is navigating the discomfort that inevitably arises during the transformation process. Discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a signal that you're growing, pushing beyond the boundaries of your old self. When you feel the urge to skip a workout, procrastinate on a task, or give in to distraction, that's your brain resisting the formation of new neural pathways. Discipline requires you to lean into this discomfort, to embrace it as the price of progress. For example, when you commit to 10 minutes of daily stillness, the first few sessions might feel agonizing as your mind races and craves stimulation. But by persisting, you train your brain to tolerate silence, gradually finding clarity and focus in those quiet moments. This ability to push through discomfort is what allows you to overcome the barriers that stop most people: boredom, doubt, and the temptation to quit when immediate results aren't visible. The 90-day period is designed to help you cross this threshold, where discomfort becomes a catalyst for growth rather than an obstacle. Discipline also plays a critical role in building resilience, the ability to face challenges without crumbling. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks, whether they're external obstacles or internal doubts, are inevitable. Motivation might falter in the face of adversity, but discipline keeps you moving forward. It's the voice that says, "Do it anyway," when everything in you wants to give up. This resilience is built through small, daily acts of discipline that prove to yourself you're capable of showing up even when it's hard. For instance, if you miss a day of your deep work block due to an unexpected interruption, discipline compels you to make it up that evening or double down the next day. This commitment to follow through strengthens your self-efficacy, the belief in your ability to achieve your goals, which is a key driver of long-term success. Over 90 days, these acts of discipline accumulate, creating a deep well of confidence that allows you to tackle bigger challenges with ease. The power of discipline in the 90-day framework also lies in its ability to create systems that make consistency effortless. While motivation relies on external triggers like inspirational videos or perfect conditions, discipline thrives on structure. By building systems, such as a fixed morning routine, a habit tracker, or a distraction-free workspace, you remove the need to make daily decisions about whether to act. For example, setting a non-negotiable time for your daily workout eliminates the mental debate about when or if you'll exercise. Over time, these systems become automatic, reducing decision fatigue and freeing up mental energy for higher-level tasks. The 90-day period is ideal for establishing these systems because it's long enough to ingrain them but short enough to maintain focus and urgency. By the end of the 90 days, your systems are so ingrained that they run your life, not the other way around. Ultimately, discipline is about taking ownership of your transformation. It's about recognizing that no one else will do the work for you, that your potential is in your hands, and that the only thing standing between you and your goals is your willingness to show up. In the 90-day journey, discipline is a fuel that powers every pillar: mind, body, mission, and stillness. It's what drives you to read instead of scroll, to train instead of rest, to work instead of procrastinate, and to sit in silence instead of seeking stimulation. Each disciplined action is a declaration of your commitment to yourself, a step toward becoming someone who doesn't just dream of success, but lives it. By the end of the 90 days, discipline has transformed you from someone who relies on motivation to someone who relies on themselves. You become a person who moves with purpose, acts with conviction, and faces challenges with resilience. Not because you're chasing a goal, but because discipline has become who you are. This is the true power of discipline. It doesn't just help you achieve a 90-day transformation. It redefines your identity, setting the stage for a life of consistent, purposeful action that propels you toward your highest potential.